What's up, everybody? Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the show. Today it's announcing another fallen musician that we all admire so much. So many of these favorites of ours, legends that we've loved since we were children, they're getting older too, and they're leaving us one by one. Today is actually died a couple days ago. Sorry for a couple days late on getting to this one. You guys know I love ELO. Richard Tandy, longtime keyboard player from ELO, passed away on May 1st, 2024 at the age of 76, born March 26, 1948 in Birmingham, England. Undisclosed cause of death so far, but it was announced by Jeff Lynne just a couple days ago. And a sad loss for a guy that meant so much to the Electric Light Orchestra sound. ELO, big keyboards, strings, right? Violin and cello and guitar and thunderous drums and percussion, soaring vocal harmonies. That was the sound of ELO, blending pop music and classical music right into this thing called Electric Light Orchestra, right? Call it prog, call it pop, call it a mixing of the two, call it art rock, call it whatever you want. At the center of it all was Richard Tandy, originally brought on board to contribute, piano and a little bit of Moog synthesizer in spots. That's basically what he's credited on, on the very, very first, his first appearance, but the second ELO album, right? So Roy Wood leaves, basically a trio on the first album, right? You got Roy Wood, Jeff Lynne, and Bev Bevan. Roy leaves, and Jeff takes control of the band and basically brings in all these other players to add in these kind of cool orchestral elements, one of which was Richard Tandy, right, to provide some kind of synthesizer, early Moog synthesizer, and his great piano playing. But that would expand into all sorts of other things over the years, clavinet and mellotron and Wurlitzer electric piano and all sort of harmonium, all sorts of other things, right? As we'll kind of get to. And then obviously as the 70s started to move on, he became more and more integral to their sound as he started to kind of expand his palette of all the different keyboard technology that was out there and coming out. He started using more and more different keys on each album, giving all these ELO albums even a richer sound than what we heard from that very, very first album he appeared on. On the Third Day, you can kind of hear it on all sorts of stuff on here. I love his little Moog moments on these albums is really kind of neat because they really stick out and add some really cool stuff. Like on Ocean Breakup and what's the other track I'm thinking of on here? It's Daybreaker, right? And then of course you've got this album, which is just sweeping with all these orchestral elements. But again, him adding all the things he does, and I always really appreciated that on most of these ELO albums, they always told you exactly which keyboards he plays on the albums. And I'm just trying to remember, see if they do on this particular one as well. Maybe not, but let's see, Richard Tandy, piano, Moog, guitar, backing vocals. Okay, so we're still, at this point, still just basically using just a grand piano and Moog, but then, we got Face the Music, of course. And I think it's really with the New World record that we started to get the that larger palette of things. Let me just take a look here, see if we have any additional, because I know with the next album they're going to lay out. Here we go. Okay, so here. So on this album, he's playing Wurlitzer electric piano, EP2, the EP200 model, the Mini Moog, Micro Moog, SLM, Concert Spectrum Electra guitars, Gibson SG, Hofner clavinet, Yamaha C7 grand piano, Mellotron M400, Morley pedals, phase shifters, and things like that, right? So yeah, so all of a sudden now he started to really integrate much, much more. I think it's also kind of cool that he's playing different flavors of Moogs and using the Mellotron. And I think live, because from what I remember, I never saw them back in the day, but he used to bring a Mellotron because, again, a lot of orchestral elements on these albums. So on stage, you want to kind of try and recreate that as much as possible, even though they had the violin and cello section there. But why not bring a Mellotron to add even more of that kind of stuff, right? So, but really, it was on this album where all of a sudden it's just like he's using everything under the sun. And I remember being a kid buying this on vinyl and opening up the gatefold and everything about it, and then looking at that the liner notes and seeing that massive list of things that he was playing on here. And let's get some. So here we got Polymoog, Minimoog, ARP 2600, Odyssey, Omni Sequencer, Minus Noise Mixer, Wurlitzer, EP 200, Piano, more Moog, clavinets. I mean, just all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, I remember as a kid, I was thinking, what is all that stuff? It's like, I don't know what any of those things are, right? Because, back in 1977 or whatever, it's like, I don't know nothing about keyboards, right? I don't know who's playing what. I know that Gibson Les Paul thing. That's about all I know because Ace Frehley played that, right? But all this other stuff. But I remember being fascinated by all these sounds that he was doing. Just really awesome stuff. And he continues like something like this. Like the Discovery album, right? Less strings on here, lots more synthesizers on stuff like that, as well as the follow-up albums, right? So basically, he is with, by this point in time, the string section is gone. You've got Jeff playing, Kelly Grocott is gone by this point. You've got basically Jeff playing all guitars and bass and some keys, Richard on keyboards, and Bev Bevan on drums. So it's basically like a trio by the time we get to Balance of Power. And then, Jeff puts ELO to bed for a number of years, and he comes back later on and does this Jeff Lynne's ELO, and Richard plays a little bit here and there on a couple of those, but for the most part, he basically kind of retired from the band at that point, or maybe not retired, but maybe Jeff just decided not to bring him back. I don't know what all the background stuff is on that, but I know he's done other things over the years. And let's see if I have any other info for him. Yeah, but he leaves his wife and family and friends and all of us fans at this point in time. And he's up there playing with all the greats. And we'll miss him because I think, like I said, I think so important, if you're a fan of ELO, so important to their sound over the years. And I always felt, even though like I'm a guy who really appreciates guitarists, that's just kind of my thing, obviously, because I play a bit of guitar and I love guitar players. But I always found that my favorite member of this band was Richard Tandy. Just because I think you take him out of the equation, it's just not the same. It's like, even though the violins early on, the cellos, that's the kind of cool thing about their music, but without all those different keyboard textures and sounds and whatnot, it's just, that's the magic. That's like that pixie dust that's sprinkled all over all these albums from ELO is Richard Tandy. Always, to me, the secret MVP of this band. Even though, Jeff Lynne writes all the songs and he comes up with all these melodies and the vocals and stuff, but I think Richard Tandy, you got to have him here. So, he's going to be greatly missed, and a fantastic musician and one of the unsung keyboard greats of all time. And, again, not a flashy soloist, right? That's never his thing. But he's the guy who, when you hear him, you hear those little things, you're like, that's that Richard Tandy dude. Yeah. So, rest in peace, leaves us at age 76. Go out and listen to some of these classic ELO albums and celebrate his life and music. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together all the damn time. Richard Tandy, we love you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.